Hello, everybody. Welcome to the program. It's Bet 99's The Parleh Show. I'm Albert Vartanian with my co-host, my Goomba Shawn McCormick.
Happy to be here.
Up and in. Look at that beautiful shirt
you
got fun on this beautiful Friday.
It's Fun Shirt Friday, man. I try to bring the fun on Fridays. You know, it's a little bit freaky, a little bit off the rails. Let's cash some winners. Let's talk about some fun sports. Let's go. It's a good day here in Toronto.
Speaking of fun sports, the greatest sport of all time returns tonight.
Highlight?
No, and it's not pickleball.
Oh, okay.
Slam ball returns.
Oh, baby.
But unfortunately, if you live in Canada, you will not be able to watch this on any of the big networks. For whatever reason, the bigwigs over at the three-letter and another network to be named later have decided not to pick it up. This is some slam ball highlights from way back when. No, don't adjust your television sets. This is not a video game. This is real life. Body checking, bouncing off trampolines, slam dunks. This is what I'm talking about. I remember watching this when I was younger.
That's a charge
on
right there.
Spike TV.
Blocker charge.
Oh yeah, blocker charge. See you later. So this returns tonight, dude. It really does. And like I said, you cannot watch it in Canada, so you're gonna have to find an alternative way to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna suggest a certain way. I'll let you figure that out for yourself. I mean, there's ways around it, if you know what I'm saying, but I don't want to give you those
streams
ways.
that you can find on the internet that you could find it if you want to find it.
There are legal ways. You can definitely find some fugazi links.
Do you know
out
he
there.
created this? The creator of Slam Ball created it after looking at what mixed martial arts was doing.
No, I didn't know that.
So he was watching some UFC and he realized the mixture of sports and how the disciplines and how karate, jiu-jitsu, wrestling and all came together to create one sport. So he's like, why can't I do that with basketball? The gymnast, the running, the tackling, the dunking, and that's sort of where it came from. The idea of it came from. And hashtag bring back slam ball, over 200 million views.
You see that?
So there's gonna be an appetite for this.
I think
and maybe why it didn't succeed in the past was it was on one channel, Spike TV, great channel back in the day, but now there's a digital world, right, where if I run down the floor and tackle you, that'll blow up in a hurry, right? Those hits, those impacts, these dunks that people are going to see on the day-to-day when slam ball is on, that'll be some highlight material that is easily shared, which you couldn't do. I could go, hey, Albert, on my rotary phone.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
No, it's the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
But there was no Twitter. It wasn't prevalent back then, you know what I mean? So you have this avenue now where I can, with two clicks of a button, I can share these tweets with you and with the world.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that will catch on. I don't, I don't expect it to be a major sport, but I think it'll have a bit of a following. It already has a bit of a cult following, and it's an interesting
It's funny what you mentioned when you call someone up back in the day, hey, this is going on.
Yeah.
During that time, the first Ultimate Fighter was on Spike TV.
Yeah.
And the final fight was between Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner, RIP Stephen Bonner. Halfway through that fight, I remember picking up my phone and calling the house phone, calling my brother saying, dude, you got to tune into this. And this was UFC wasn't huge then.
No. Well, that was one of the fights that put UFC
brought back the UFC, right? So, I mean, I think slam ball can do this. Who knows what happens? Let's say this thing actually blows up, and then you're getting a former athlete.
Yeah.
Did you
picked up the phone and did you hear the internet in your
No, there was no internet.
Your mom was on. Get off the phone. I gotta call Shawn about the UFC.
The worst is when you called someone and they didn't have a second line. So go straight to the busy line. What are we doing here? Why? Get a second line. Figure it out. Yes, but listen. Imagine a DK Metcalf. After he retires, he's just you know what? I'm gonna play some slam ball.
So let's pick a team. I'm gonna list the teams for you, right? And obviously we're not slam ball professionals. We don't really know what's going on.
I used to be, dude.
I'm going to pick based off name alone,
All right, give us some names.
So we got the Griffins, we got the Mob, we got the Ozone, the Rumble, Lava, the Slashers, Wrath, and Buzzsaw.
Sounds like XFL team.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to go with the MOB. I think that's an original team.
They are, and they've won two championships in the past. Me, because of who I am, I'm going to take the Slashers. Because they were the last champion.
What does that mean? Because of who I am, I'm taking the Slashers. What do you do at night?
I like to take the favorites, man.
Oh, they're the favorites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if they're the favorites. I'm just saying, they won the last tournament that was played.
Yeah.
The official like televised tournaments back in, I think that was like 2008, I believe.
Yes, we got to get some odds on this thing. But by the way, so it starts this weekend, 8 teams, 6-week regular season, and also says 60 hours of coverage on ESPN. Has nothing to do with us here in Canada.
I love that
so.
week.
What?
I love that we're just harping about slam ball. All right, and we're out of time. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey,
on
we'll
the
see you tomorrow,
Parleh
guys.
Show.
We're just talking about slam ball today. Hey, listen, it's exciting. It's
No,
something we're going to watch.
I'm hyped up.
It's something we're going to see a lot of on our timeline.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. The past couple of weeks, we've been stretching for content. So, we got some now.
If there's games and if it's competitive and if it's commissioned, you can find a way to bet.
Oh,
on
hell
it.
yeah. Put some
And so let's
on
go.
there.
Some Bet99 odds coming
Yes.
for slam ball. Let's go.
And as I said off top of the show, this is Bet99's The Parleh Show. Make sure you go and visit the book. Follow us on Twitter, by the way, at The Parleh. And good afternoon to everyone watching here on Sports Grid. Thanks for joining us. Coming up later on the show, this is what's going to go down. We're going to preview the Hungarian Grand Prix. I honestly don't know why we're previewing it to pick a winner because we all know who's going to win. It's Max Verstappen. I'm just saying.
If I was, I'm not going to be in that segment. Sarah Perori is.
Yes,
and
she will.
And she's great at the
She's
F1.
dialed in.
Verstappen, only one career victory at the Hungarian Grand Prix. It was
You're
last
coming in with
year.
some stats, dude. I love that.
So stay tuned.
Yes.
Maybe we'll talk about it in Block 5 after you have her on, and maybe
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'll pick a winner and see what Sarah came up with, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll talk outrights. We'll talk, some top tens and whatnot. Also, Messi, he debuts for Inter Miami tonight in the Leagues Cup against
Cruz Azul.
Azul, who won the inaugural Leagues Cup in 2019.
Okay.
And have you heard of a trend called on TikTok called NPC?
Not until
Well,
today.
you're going to find out about it later on the show. Stay tuned for that. We'll be back with more Parleh Show coming up after the break. All right, welcome back to the show. It's Bet99's The Parleh Show. Coming up, we're going to discuss a few things. The Hungarian Grand Prix, Inter Miami, Messi making his debut. We'll talk about the Jays taking on Seattle. The Orioles, top of the AL East. Who saw that coming? I did, and I said it on this show, by the way, so tap myself on the back. But before we get to that, have you heard of TikTok's NPC trend? No? Neither have I. But here's Noura and Sarah talking about it.
Popcorn, yow, yow. Yes, yes, yes. Gang, gang. Pop, amazing. Ice cream, so good. Yow, yes, popcorn. Ooh, ice cream, so good. Ooh, yes, popcorn. Oh, take it, baby. This is so cute.
What was she doing? Like just popping stuff to like the sound effects?
The whole thing is like she's on TikTok live and she's doing her thing, and people who are watching her end up, I guess like TikTok has a thing where they can send you like emoji gifts.
Yeah.
And as they pop up, that's actually money that's going to her pocket. So all this thing that she's doing is people gifting her money. Timbaland's number one on her list. She sits there, she's got a popcorn kernel, it's in her straightener and it's popping as she's doing, yes, popcorn. Like
Grown women doing this stuff and they're getting paid. There's one girl that's apparently getting paid like $500K.
Guess how much money she makes? Not per month, not every 2 weeks, not per week. How much do you think she makes per day? $7,000 per
Wow.
day.
All right, guys, I'm your new
What are we doing here? Why am I talking about sports?
This is wild, though. I think kids need to go outside. Like, I can't believe. Listen, credit to her and credit to whoever's doing it because they're getting money.
Yeah.
But how they're getting money from who? That's like, I think where I have the issue because I'm like, what are you paying for? Like, are you okay? No, truly, like this is so concerning to me that this is like, and again, it's not discrediting the people that are doing it because they know where the money is.
Make your
but
money.
Like, truly, but like, it is insane. Like, if I found out that I had a kid that was paying for something like this, I would be like, you need help. Like,
What did I just watch? Noura?
Have you
Sarah Pereira?
ever gone on TikTok? I know Sarah doesn't have TikTok, so this is like a new thing,
What
but not
was
really
that?
a new thing for Sarah. The craziest thing is when you go on TikTok and you're scrolling. I'm sure you guys all know out there who scrolls TikTok.
A mind-numbing scroll?
Yeah, and then every third post ends up being a live, like a really random live, and you always feel like you're like intrusive on someone else's. Like it feels so personal whenever you end up going on a live. And now people are doing this thing where they're making a lot of money off of it, where there's an audience that wants to just see people act out emojis. And they're making millions off of this, Albert. This woman, Pinky Doll, I guess, I'm not sure if she was the founder or what she's doing, but she's the best at it, apparently.
Apparently.
And her number one sponsor is Timbaland, by the way. Timbaland of all people. I just want to emphasize on that.
Well, he sees the money, right?
Yeah, he sees.
That's all that is.
But it's not even sponsored. It's just he donates her the money, so she makes $7,000 every
From
single
him?
day. Yeah, from him.
Oh, I thought that was
so
from
he's
the
one of
stream.
the people who was like, the fans who go out and they gave out emojis. So he's one of the people who gives out the emojis, and she makes money off of that.
Right.
And now she started this whole trend where people are like, okay, I want to do this too. So people are following in her footstep, and I just want to know. Who's the viewer? Like, who's the market? And why are people watching this?
Well, I'm
Sarah?
assuming it might be children. I don't know. Right? Teenagers?
It could
And
be.
people just want to see people see dumb things? Like, I
I
don't
feel
know.
like if it was children, it would make sense because she's doing like quick reactions to things.
And she's
so,
not really
like,
swearing or anything,
Yeah,
right? in these
yeah.
things?
So maybe because they just like, I don't know, like the
Right.
sound. It's so.
So this is what I
bizarre.
got. So Pinky Doll, as you mentioned, that's her name.
Yeah.
So this is from the Washington Post on this NPC trend. It's a new trend that's popped up on the internet over the past few months. Live streaming yourself on TikTok while saying strange phrases robotically. Fans pay to leave creators monetary tips, and as the tip shows up as an icon in the comments, it prompts the creator to respond. So whatever you write or emojis, that's all she does all
She
day.
acts it out. That's so whenever she sees popcorn, she goes, "Yes, popcorn."
So that
yes,
can you, hold on,
popcorn."
Ellie, can you roll that the B-roll of Pinky Doll? So when she had the
Yeah,
straightener in her
yeah,
hand,
yeah,
I had no
yeah,
idea what she
gang,
was
gang.
doing. When she
It
popped the popcorn.
popped.
It's
You
amazing.
see that bowl in front
Weird.
of her? That's popcorn
ice cream so
kernel.
good.
So and then the
Yum, yes,
popcorn next to her is all the
popcorn.
popcorn just already pops in her straightener.
Ice cream so good.
It's the whole
Ooh,
thing.
Yes,
But
popcorn. Oh, take it, baby. This is so cute.
Acknowledge how good she is at it, though.
But it's catchy.
I don't
kinda,
think
too.
she
Dang, dang,
stops.
dang, 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 dang. Like imagine doing that and making 7K.
7K.
We can't. You know what? As much as I want to hate on this person for doing this because I think it's stupid, I mean, good on you. I mean, you figured something out.
But that's what I said. I said I'm not hating on the people that do it because clearly there's money there. But it's the people that are paying. Like, I'm like, really? You're just giving away money like that as an emoji to someone to see someone go, ice cream? Like, no, that's insane. That's where I have the issue. That's why I'm like, people, like I said, people need to go outside.
I feel like we've
this is
seen-
why social media has ruined the world. When
Well-
I see, because my thought is thinking about like kids. I don't know who the audience is.
Yeah.
But if it's kids that are just like super addicted and just like sending stuff like that, like I'm like, you gotta get on your scooter and get around the block. Like this is too much.
So
like,
an NPC stands for non-playable character in video games.
I'm so out of the loop.
So I guess she's just a character on TikTok. Like they just.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, that's what she is.
But I
right?
don't think she's the only one, though. I think
No,
there's more
there's-
creators
No,
doing
there's
this.
a bunch. But I would say like she's kind of like, if you notice, ever since YouTube came about, there's been this rise of this new area and this new way of making so much money, which is making content and doing crazy things. And now TikTok has kind of like really exercised that even more in a very different way. So I look at it and I'm like, there's so many niche markets now with the internet where you can not only make money, but you can make so much money, like millions of dollars for these random people. But it makes me wonder, like, honestly, if there was a way to do this anonymously where there's it's black in the background,
probably
I
put a
can
mask
put
on or
a
something.
mask on and no one's gonna know it's me, I'll fucking do it.
Yeah, why
Oh,
not?
5 hours to fucking do it. Are you kidding me? I'll quit this job in a second.
Right, yes.
Well, potty
You will
mouth
never
over
know
there,
it's
lady.
me. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. We'll let that one slide. We apologize. What were you saying,
Sorry,
Sarah?
guys, about TikTok.
Noor's getting fired up about TikTok. She
Yeah,
also made like
yeah.
5-7K.
Do
And
you
by-
wait? Do you have TikTok?
You guys?
Like I have an account. I don't use it. I don't really
Okay.
scroll through it. But listen, I just said like kids probably look at that stuff. But I know 40-plus-year-olds who are on that thing all day.
Yeah,
Maybe they're on the
exactly.
NPC. I have no idea. But just constantly scrolling and going through things. So it's not just like a kid prom or
Yeah,
teenage
yeah.
prom. This is just a
Well, it's
human
like
problem.
it's addicting. Like
It's
being
totally
on social
addicting.
media. Like I never got TikTok, and I said this because I was like, I'm on my phone enough as it is. We have to be on screens all day for what we do, anyways. Whether it's our laptop, our phones, checking Twitter, soccer
Right.
transfers, and I was like, that alone, I'm like, I don't need something that's gonna pull me in when I'm lying in bed, and I'm like, yeah, give it to me. Like
also, I don't think it's good for you to be consuming that much information in such a short amount of time.
100%. No.
It seems kind of Black Mirror. I don't know. It seems kind of
here
a
we
different
go.
world. You know
I
what
know,
I mean?
dude. I
It's
watched
like,
a couple
it's just
episodes and I had to
strange.
stop because
Yeah.
it was too freaky.
It's
Seriously.
crazy.
There were seasons back in the day too where like you get to. I'm not sure if you guys watched the one where it was about social media, how
The
your
ratings?
likeness, how your rating
and
gets
you
it
could
on
see
real
the
life.
people's rating
Yeah.
on top of their heads or like on their
Exactly.
wherever. Like you'd
It's-
meet someone and it would be like 6.7, and you would only want to be friends with people like higher than a 6 or a 7.
You see?
So like if someone had like a 4, you'd be like,
It's like an Uber rating. You have an Uber rating in real life. And
Well,
they
it's
can
like
see
what
your
they're
Uber
talking about with
rating.
the social credit system too, right? where it's like if you, I don't know the facts exactly, but I believe in China they have this. So like let's say if you jaywalk and you get a ticket, it affects your credit rating, like your social credit rating, and it'll affect you like getting a mortgage or rent, and
That's insane.
it's a real thing that's
That's
happening.
insane.
Yeah. So that's why Black Mirror is so freaky to me.
So
Yeah,
you
'cause
Don't quote me on what I'm saying, by the way, but that's actually happening.
That's insane. But no, I was gonna say like this, what they're doing. It reminds me of like Hunger Games, Black Mirror, like a dystopian
What's
world
the
where
other
you're just
one
like
that came out that was huge? Squidward?
Squid Game.
Squidward. Squidward is SpongeBob. Squid Game, right?
Squid Games. Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
if people are desperate, they'll do whatever it takes
I
to make a
guess.
buck, right? Listen, she's making $7K and probably more. Sponsors, who knows what's gonna happen? So Pinky Doll, shout out to you. I know it's kind of weird, gang and all that. Like, you just do some twitches, and all of a sudden you're making some do-re-mi. Good for them. Twitching on TikTok, not TikTok on Twitch.
Oh my god.
Thank you guys so much. Sarah, you're gonna join us a little bit later to
Yes,
talk
sir.
F1 and why we should maybe believe that Verstappen will not win. I don't know how you're going to come up and convince me, but we'll see. How much time we got, Ellie? 40 seconds left, yeah. So we'll have the Hungarian Grand Prix preview coming up. Inter Miami
Yeah.
with Messi debuting, likely off the bench tonight against Cruz Azul in the League's Cup. Also, Sean is going to jump back in. We'll talk about the Blue Jays, the rest of the MLB slate. 15-game MLB slate. Orioles, Rays. Like I mentioned, Orioles top of the AL East for the first time in a very long time, and the Jays are in Seattle taking on the Mariners. So coming up after the break, I'll bring in Sean and we'll talk some baseball. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the show. We have some breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The Toronto Blue Jays have made a trade. According to Katie Wu of The Athletic, the St. Louis Cardinals have traded Genésis Cabrera, who automatically becomes my favorite Blue Jay because that's a fantastic name, in exchange for minor league catching prospect Sammy Hernandez. Cabrera, by the way, was DFA'd by St. Louis on Monday. I'm bringing in my boy over here, Shawn McCormick, coming in with some breaking news.
Yeah, happy to be
What
back.
do we know about Genésis Cabrera?
I mean, similar-ish to Fujinami that the Orioles acquired a couple days ago.
Right.
A reliever who has sort of been struggling this season. He's got like a 5 ERA with, again, the underlying stats are a little bit better. And then somebody who has been pitching well lately, struggled at the beginning of the year. Somebody who comes in at age, I believe, 26. He's got a few years left of arbitration control, so the Jays can hold on to him for a bit longer, keep his salary a bit lower. Somebody who is a slider first pitcher, throws a slider about 36% of the time, throws a fastball about 36% of the time as well. 96-ish average fastball velocity too.
Okay.
So somebody that can throw a bit of heat out of the bullpen for the Jays. Let me just double check here. He is a lefty, which the Jays definitely needed, which
Right.
I thought that's what he was, but I wanted to confirm that. Now he joins Tim Meza as a lefty out of the pen for the Jays. I was curious what the Jays were going to do out of the, when they got Ryu back and whenever they saw from Manoah what the plan was going to be. And now I don't have to worry about that too much because they just brought in a lefty reliever. I wasn't sure if they were going to put Ryu in the bullpen, which they did. The Jays have said they weren't going to do, but you never know. I was worried maybe they moved Kikuchi, who's not been as good lately. Maybe they put him back into the bullpen like they did last year. I wasn't exactly sure, but they come out here today and they make a trade for a lefty reliever. So good move for the Jays, I think, and somebody who can help you down the stretch and somebody who you can match up now with some other against the lefties. So.
Right. Yeah, and Ross Atkins in his media availability, which we talked about the other day, emphasized the fact that they were looking for a reliever and a right-handed bat. Looks like they got their reliever. Career-wise, ERA 4.14. So who knows you're going to get from him. I haven't seen much of him. I know you haven't, so we'll see what Genésis, and I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Cabrera, number 92 for the
Genésis
Cardinals, which is
Cabrera.
another great number. I love this guy. I love my relievers, man. Jimmy Garcia.
Yeah.
I love my guys. But the Jays, yes, back in action tonight. They kick off a series against the Seattle Mariners, but they're coming off a pretty good win last night. They beat the Padres 4-0. Bassett was great once again. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned, 5 Ks, and just 1 walk. We had a Vladdy bomb, Alejandro Kirk, with a home run, a guy who doesn't really hit too many. His first homer since June 5th, by the way. He had 14 last season, went 3 for 3 with 2 ribeyes. Heading into Seattle now, your expectations in this series? We're going to get a Manoah outing as well, by the way.
Yeah, Manoah's supposed to pitch on Sunday. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a tough series. I mean, Seattle's trying to climb their way back into the wild card picture. So we'll see where that goes. Tonight for the Blue Jays, you've got Kikuchi on the mound. Again, like I said a few seconds ago, he has been struggling a bit lately. I believe like 11 earned runs in his last 3 starts or something like around that. But the good side of that is that the Mariners don't hit lefties fantastically. I believe they're 24th in the league in average and 24th in WOBA against lefties. So and like 11th in strikeouts against lefties. So Kikuchi's got some stuff that he can strike you out with, and I think that the Jays have a good chance of winning this game tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. Just looking at the betting lines at the moment at the book at Bet99. The Jays on the money line -105. You got the Mariners -115. This is a late start tonight. This is like a 10:15 start.
Yeah, we're on the West Coast, man.
On the West Coast.
So even the afternoon games this weekend will be a bit later in the afternoon, just probably around
Which I don't mind.
4 o'clock start. Yeah.
I want to talk about this past series with the Blue Jays. I don't want to be too negative. Listen, they won the game. They avoided the sweep.
Yeah.
John Snyder got his 100th career win. He's now 99-71 in 170 games, which is good. But the negative from that game, once again, is runners in scoring position. They're batting .243 in that category, which is the 6th worst in the league. And over this past series, they left 27 players on base. Yeah. It's a reoccurring issue, which I don't know what the solution is. But then I go look at some of the numbers of some of these players with runners in scoring position. Yeah, Vladdy's hitting .308, which I was shocked to see because. You don't when I see Vladdy go up to the plate now, at least this past season, I don't have the confidence in thinking, well, that guy hits 300, he's probably going to cash these guys. I don't have that same type of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed this, and I've used this word constantly to talk about this team as inconsistent. Yeah. And but I mean, 308 is fantastic.
It's really good.
Really good, right? So you look at the numbers with runners in scoring position, and some of the guys on the lineup card aren't hitting that well with runners in scoring position. George Springer. Alejandro Kirk's having an off season, to say the least. Yeah. But I think where you're getting some of that is just from, Twitter and the media. And no, I'm being honest with you.
But there's the eye test as well, a little bit.
Definitely an eye test too, right? But like we've talked about this too over the last little bit. Like there just seems to be this aura about this team that, there's a lot of negativity around it and panic around it because, again, there was World Series aspirations for this team. And I mean, you're in a playoff spot. So, like, there are still World Series aspirations for this team, but people were panicking. And again, they sat there with the 10th best record in the league, and people still weren't happy. And I get that you're not going to be happy when you see, again, the Orioles and the Rays, and at the time, the Yankees above the Jays. But now things are starting to even out a little bit. The bats are starting to come around for the Jays. Vladdy's hitting better. Springer's hitting better. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where you're getting some of that. Is just, I mean, again, the runners in scoring position is an issue. That's an issue, and I don't. You're right. I don't think you can do anything to fix that. There's nothing. I think you just go out there and you do what you would do as if there's no runners on base, right? I just think it's like I don't know. I don't really like clutch or that mentality, but like when in those situations, your heartbeat gets a little faster. You know what I mean? The mind races a little bit more, and you're trying to do maybe a little bit too much because obviously you want to cash in those runs. And when there's 2 on and no out, like there were a few times in this Padres series, you saw, Kiermaier strike out, you saw Merrifield strike out, you saw Vladdy strike out. Like there were instances where they just didn't get it done when they should have got it done, and they should have scored more than 4 runs or 5 runs in this series, right? But yeah, there's no solution. I just think hopefully it regresses to the mean and evens out, and you get a little bit better performance from them down the stretch. Again, they have one of the easier schedules left in the AL East, so let's hope that the Blue Jays can figure it out and start scoring some runs, and maybe they do that by adding a bat too. So there's lots of games left to be played.
Yes.
And I think it's the time for everybody just to calm down just a little bit and
breathe
and just realize the Jays are in a wild card spot.
Yeah.
And that's the first step to making a World Series run.
True.
So if they're out of the playoffs, panic a little bit, sure. But let's see where there's 60 games left. Let's see where things shape out.
Yeah. 65 games remaining. 25 against the AL East. They got 7 against Baltimore, 6 against Tampa Bay. They're 7-20 against the AL East. So they got to figure that out. But yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. The Jays, according to Bet99 at the moment, plus 860 to win the American League.
It's climbing down a little bit.
Which isn't bad. The Orioles, who are in first place right now, game up on Tampa Bay after beating them last night, plus 820 to win the American League. The Tampa Bay Rays still favored at plus 245. I want to go back to the 2015 trade deadline.
Okay.
When the Jays went all in, bringing in David Price and Tulowitzki.
Yeah.
They were 8 games back of the AL East, ended up winning that division, and ended up having, I think, the best, if not one of the best offenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at this deadline, I know they just brought in a reliever, Genesis Cabrera. I'm going to keep saying that name.
Yeah.
But if they were to make a splash like that, maybe that's what they need. I know we talked about it yesterday on the Homestand show with Justin Pooney. He mentioned maybe they need a shock in that dressing room. I mean, you bring in a David Price and a Troy Tulowitzki, that's a massive shock. And it's also like, hey, listen, we're all in. We believe in you guys. We just think we need a couple more to take us over the top.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and again, they're visiting Seattle, and what better time to visit Seattle and maybe talk to your buddy Teoscar, you know what I mean? Like, again,
Come on over.
I do believe that this team will make moves, as you evidenced by today. They're already making a small move, and you know what I mean, didn't give up too much. Just Sammy Henderson going back to the Cardinals, right? Sammy Hernandez.
Hernandez,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, my mistake.
Okay.
So I mean, they're gonna do more. I don't know if it'll be as big a splash as those names at the time were huge,
massive.
They're like the rumored names that to be available, and of course there can be surprise names that come out of nowhere and you'd have no idea that this person was even on the trading block. But the rumored names to be out there right now, you know, your Stromans, your Teoscars. I've heard Paul Goldschmidt, but I don't expect somebody like a Paul Goldschmidt. Yeah, McCutcheon, who used to be, and
it's a name.
I mean, he's having a good season, especially at his age. But there aren't, you know, aside from Ohtani, who, again, I don't believe is on the trading block. I do not. But there's no splashy names. There's no superstar names here. Marcus Stroman is having one of the best seasons in the major leagues this year from a pitching standpoint.
Yeah.
But he's not a superstar. Would I love to see him on the Blue Jays? Yes. I think it'll cost too much. I think you're going to see moves similar to this to try to get the Jays over the hump. You know, you bring in a couple of bats, you bring in a couple of relievers, maybe a starter, but nobody near the top tier, nobody to sort of, like I said yesterday, to mortgage this future of this club. I think you're just trying to see what you can get and shake it up a little bit, but you don't have to change the entire culture and the entire lineup. This lineup is very capable of putting, you know, double digits on the board at any given moment. It's just, there's shown some inconsistency, and we'll see what they have down the stretch. But I like this team as it's built. You just have to sort of add to it, you know, to
I think
add in the fill in the holes, you know, against lefty pitching. You added a lefty reliever, which was very much needed. And now, you know, you have to maybe address the starting pitching situation with Alek Manoah struggling. Gosman should pitch, I believe, tomorrow. Expected to pitch tomorrow. So we'll see what he's got. And hopefully he, you know, feels great after he pitches tomorrow. And then you feel that you don't have to address it as much. So
yeah, you may not need
a big
stud,
series
right?
for the Jays.
3 out of the 5 starters are really solid. So maybe you don't need a marquee pickup in terms of starting pitchers. Sean, I'll have you back on the end of the show to drop the parlay, make some picks coming up after the break. Let's talk some Formula One with Sarah Pararia. All right, welcome back to Bet99's The Parlay Show. As I mentioned before the break, there was some breaking news. Genesis Cabrera from the St. Louis Cardinals, to the Toronto Blue Jays, a trade that just went down moments ago. Katie Wu of The Athletic is the one who broke that news. Sammy Hernandez is a prospect of the Jays going the other way. So the Blue Jays making some moves. More to come, I'm assuming. It sounds like Lucas Giolito and the Arizona Diamondbacks could be making a move as well, according to John Morosi. So we'll keep you tapped into any news that breaks according to the MLB. Let's bring in Sarah Pararia.
Hi.
She's back. No, we're not talking about TikTok trends anymore.
No,
time to
thank
talk
you.
some footy, time to talk some F1, talk some Messi. Let's start with the Women's World Cup. Canada played against Nigeria in their group opener last night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. I was able to watch the first half. The second half watched me on the couch, unfortunately. Watched the highlights this morning.
Yeah.
0-0 draw.
Yeah.
Canada heavily favored to win that game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, just couldn't put away their chances. Christine Sinclair with a penalty attempt in the second half. Couldn't convert. Great save by the Nigerian keeper. But this is a huge missed opportunity for Canada now. And heading into the game on Wednesday against Ireland, it now becomes must win.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they knew going into this match that it's only going to get tougher and tougher.
Yeah.
Obviously, finishing with the Matildas. Hosts, Sam Kerr potentially back, so that game is going to be really tough.
That's the last group game. Yeah.
Exactly. So when they go up against a team like Nigeria, nothing against Nigeria, but knowing that it's going to get more difficult, yeah, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth here. They should have won this game. Things I was surprised about when I watched. I mean, I know the narrative is who's going to score for Canada. That's what everyone keeps saying. Who's going to score? We don't have Janine Becky. Jessie Fleming wasn't fit enough to come in. She was not included in the squad last night. But when I was watching, it wasn't even just that. They were slow to reaction, and their touch was miserable. Like, I've seen these ladies play my whole life, and it's been some of the best football. They are our top team in the world. We know that. We know that they're gold medalists, but I was really shocked at the way they were playing. Now, listen, I said this before. It could be World Cup jitters getting into that first game. We've seen it happen so many times with the men, like we bring it up, Argentina losing to Saudi Arabia. Sometimes that first game, it's not the best. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here. But the performance I saw overall was not good enough, period. And they need to be better. Yeah, Christine Sinclair missed the penalty. I'm not even really taking too much from that because it happens, right? Bev Priestman came out afterwards and said penalties are 50-50 chances. I get it. Nigerian keeper got big. What a great save for her.
Save.
Stayed on the line. Like, it was massive. But I don't know. Overall, I just think they need to be better. Like, it was not a great performance.
Yeah, there's a couple of chances they probably should have scored. I think they need to be better in that 6-yard or the 18-yard box. Jordan Heidema had a great headed chance, but she won in the air just wide. So, I mean, Canada is a team that probably will get better as this game goes on. The team, as you mentioned, still not at 100%.
Yeah.
But who stood out for you in that performance against Nigeria last night?
A couple girls, Ashley Lawrence on the flank.
I thought she was great.
Fantastic. Creating so many opportunities.
Yeah.
She was really good. Obviously, we saw Vanessa Gilles with that massive save, but Jade Rivera cleaning everything up in the back there as well. Those three really stood out to me. Everyone else, mediocre. Yeah, they had, maybe some spurts of excellent play, but besides that, I didn't think they were consistent. And yeah, you have players like Jordan Heidema needs to do more. Julia Grosso needs to do more. Sinky, I mean, she had that shot outside the box, so it is like the 18th minute and I was thinking, you got to bury those ones, you know? So let's see. Maybe it was the first game. We'll see going up. Now they play Ireland, obviously Wednesday. You just said 8 a.m. our time here in Toronto, but Ireland, the game I saw against Australia, they are a tough group of girls. They're super aggressive, so it makes me a little bit worried for the Canadians, and they're also really quick to the ball, which I'm thinking Canada was really slow to the ball. This is going to be interesting because Ireland, I think, it's going to be way tougher of a match.
I thought the Nigerians were really aggressive as well.
Yeah.
Tons of pace, tons of power. They were really good. I think Nigeria actually has a shot. At the moment, Canada plus 350. They're still second favorites to get out of this group, and they're favored minus 250 on the line against Ireland. So the book is expecting a win from Canada here. If I were to probably pinpoint one player that needs to step up in terms of Canada needing to beat Ireland and get out of this group, I think it's probably Julia Grosso, right?
Yeah.
Because she manages so much in the middle of that park, and she just wasn't at it at the same time last night.
I wonder, though, as well, if Jessie Fleming is going to be fit, because she kind of holds down the middle of the park so well that if she's able to come in, then we might see some subs as well. People were also potentially talking about Chloe Leclasse actually starting the game instead of coming in as a sub. Obviously, Priestman knows that when you play tournament style football, you got to adjust and make these changes. So will we see the same starting 11 starting against Ireland? I doubt it, but you got to adapt, right? So we'll see.
To qualify out of Group B for Canada, by the way, minus 286. So your prediction, do you think Canada wins their second game against Ireland?
They have to. They have to. I don't want to. They
forget the prediction. They gotta win.
They have to win. That's it. If they forget it, if they tie, if they lose, goodbye. That's it. Like they need to. They know the pressure is on. So listen, this is Ireland's first time at the World Cup. It's great for them. Maybe we'll see that Cinderella story. But come on, Canada. This is what you guys do. You guys know what you can do. Just get that. Go through that slump. You guys got a point. Now move on and adapt. That's it.
Yeah.
Easy.
Speaking of pressure, someone who probably doesn't feel pressure is Max Verstappen. Because he's winning every single race. Him and Red Bull going for their 12th consecutive win this season. It's the Hungarian Grand Prix going down this weekend. Can you make a case where Verstappen doesn't win this thing?
No, it's really hard.
Is there really even a point to even have that discussion?
But the thing is that we're not watching anymore, I feel like, this season to see who wins. We're looking at who else is going to podium, but also because Daniel Ricciardo is back with AlphaTauri. Now, what's really interesting about this, I think he's a fan favorite in general, especially for the casual F1 fan. People love Ricciardo. So it is nice to see him back, obviously, AlphaTauri alongside Yuki Tsunoda, but Sergio Perez has been having a pretty miserable season. He's been crashing out, especially compared to Max Verstappen, who has been absolutely immaculate, right? And
Perfect.
Perez was the guy who replaced Danny Ricciardo at Red Bull.
Right.
Now, AlphaTauri is Red Bull's second team, so that's where Ricciardo went. And I assume he wants to one day get back to racing with the first Red Bull team. Now, what happened today in practice in Hungary, Sergio Perez crashed out in practice 1. And he even said before, he said, the way I perform this weekend is all going to be on me. The pressure is on, because obviously he has someone like Ricciardo back. So the storylines here are really interesting, because Perez, I'm not sure if he will be with Red Bull next year. He is not driving well enough. And now you have the likes of Ricciardo coming back into that top 20 drivers. I don't know. It's really interesting in that sense. Yeah, I get it. We're all tired of Max winning. It's so just dominant, and I get that, but there are still so many storylines here. What's going to happen with Ferrari? I mean, right now Leclerc is leading the practice, but they always do. They're really great with one lap. They're so fast, and then when it comes to 60, 70 laps, they can't get it done. Is Alonso going to podium again? Is he going to come out of his slump after podium like four podiums in a row at the beginning of the season? So there are so many other storylines, I think, that's why we watch it. And
of course, yeah. I mean, and you're watching to see if someone's going to take out Verstappen and win this thing, right? You're hoping maybe someone else does, unless you're Red Bull and you want some records to be broken by Max Verstappen, who seems to be breaking records every single race.
It's insane.
According to the odds, in terms of outrights, Max Verstappen minus 278, behind him plus 1,400.
Nuts.
What a jump is Lando Norris. Let's talk about Daniel Ricciardo, because you mentioned him. He's essentially 600 to 1 to win this race.
Listen,
is there even a shot in hell that he can potentially win this thing?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe like a podium is even a reach, but I don't know if he gets that kind of momentum back. He's just riding the high and something happens. But AlphaTauri haven't been doing well this season. They've been even struggling to get points, so not even finishing top 10. Hence why Nick DeVries was, removed and Ricciardo was brought in. He had a really bad season. So I think we shouldn't expect too much.
Okay.
It would be a really exciting story for sure, but it's their car is just not on the same level.
Okay, so outside of Verstappen, you have a couple other guys that you have your eye on to win this thing?
Yeah, George Russell, Mercedes making that sneaky little move again like they did last season around this time, kind of sliding up the constructors. They did really well in Silverstone. Obviously, we saw Hamilton podiuming, but I think George Russell got a little unlucky in that one. I think he could potentially get on the podium.
16 to 1.
Sprinkle.
Okay,
Sprinkle the
sprinkle.
podium. I
Who
like
else you
that.
got?
I know you mentioned Lando Norris. I'm not too sure. They did McLaren they both did so well at Silverstone 2 weeks ago, but that's the first race they've performed at. So we're how many races in? Like that to me, I would stay away from it. I would stay away from Ferrari. I don't know. Alonso, potentially. I always like him. But
14 to 1 to win the race.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you're always big on Alonso podium.
Yeah. He's
Are we
kind of
thinking
been
the same
going
here?
through a slump, so it's hard to say. I mean,
Alonso to podium.
I think a
is even
sprinkle
money.
is good, but
Okay.
I think if I were a betting woman, I would say the sprinkle on Mercedes this weekend. George Russell or
I like
Hamilton
that.
to
16
podium.
to 1, George Russell to win this week's Hungarian Grand Prix. Do you have any other bets? Or do you want to move on to your boy?
Let's move on to my
It's
boy,
happening.
Lionel.
It's officially, officially happening.
Yeah.
Lionel Messi is expected to make his debut for Inter Miami tonight in the Leagues Cup against Cruz Azul, who won the Leagues Cup in 2019, by the way. But Cruz Azul not doing too great in Liga MX. Inter Miami, one of the worst teams in MLS, but no one cares about that. It's Messi's, I want to say return to the pitch, but it's his debut for Inter Miami. Your expectations and how excited are you? Because I can tell with that big smile.
I'll be watching that game. I can't wait. Sergio Busquets and Messi back together again. I'm living my Barca fantasy to the fullest. Jordi Alba, sorry, really quickly, not there yet?
No, so he's with the team, but he's not expected to play.
He's not expected to play. Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm really excited to see Busquets and Messi playing again together. I think this one's going to be tough because
I don't know what to expect. I have zero expectation.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. I think we'll see Messi probably dance, and that's really exciting, but he's not played with these guys. He's been there for less than a week training with them. And it's going to be really difficult for him playing with the likes of Mbappe and Neymar and now playing with
Joseph Martinez and Sergio Busquets.
Yeah.
And potentially Andres Iniesta.
Hello. So I heard
real?
this yesterday. Andres Iniesta is rumored to join Inter Miami alongside Luis Suarez. If you are rebuilding the 2014 Barcelona team, I will be here for it.
Sarah, how does this? I don't understand how this works.
Who cares?
How can you get all these players? One.
I have no clue.
And where do they get Iniesta from? Was he still in Japan playing?
He just retired at Vissel Kobe.
I thought he retired last year.
No. He just finished with Vissel Kobe.
That's incredible.
So I love. And also, Iniesta, come and get the bag. Come and hang out in Miami with the boys. I'm here for that because Iniesta, obviously, since he left Barca, has kind of been, like, we kind of not forgot about him in the sense, but we weren't, following his Japanese career, I guess. But I think this would be
Vissel Kobe, I believe, is the team.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
No, but
I'm thinking about it as you're talking.
I think this would be great. Like, Inter Miami, they're just, like, it's a player that people are going to want to go see. We're talking about a 2-time Euro, a World Cup winner, won the treble with Barcelona twice. Like, this is Andres Iniesta, one of the best, if not the best midfielder of all time. Yeah. This is so smart from Inter Miami because they're just like, well, they're just going to come and watch.
Iniesta, Messi, Busquets, Alba, and potentially Luis Suarez, who's was still ripping up the Brazilian league. Betting-wise, Inter Miami are favored, plus 110. The draw's plus 266.
To win against Cruz Azul?
Yeah, Cruz Azul plus 225. You want a player special? How about this one? Lionel Messi to score anytime. Minus 143.
So annoying.
By the way, before you make that bet, it's very unlikely that he starts the game. He's probably coming off the bench.
I think so. You think Busquets is going to start?
Probably.
I see Busi starting.
Yeah.
I see Busi starting. But I don't know. This one is going to be like, I'm scared. I'm scared for Messi.
No, it'll be good.
The Mexican team is going to come out.
Yeah. It's a bit too short, minus 143. I do expect him to score. I will be watching. You'll be watching. Thanks for joining us. Okay, coming up after the break, we'll wrap up the show with the Parleh. All right, welcome back to the show. I got to correct myself. My buddy here, Shawn McCormick, corrected me. It is not, and I apologize to new Toronto Blue Jay, Genésis Cabrera, not Genesis. I called you Genesis. I was hoping it was Genesis. I'd give you the nickname Sega Genesis Cabrera, but it's Genesis Cabrera.
Yeah, that's what I heard on the Cardinals broadcast. Yeah. So, I mean,
I had a feeling it had the Exante Goo on top of the E there, if that's what it's called. And I'm like, it can't be Genesis. We have some more breaking news.
Oh.
Your boy, Melvin Gordon, former Broncos running back, signs a 1-year deal. This is according to Adam Schefter.
So it's gospel.
Yes, with the Baltimore Ravens, worth up to $3.1 million. He's 30 years old. He spent 3 seasons with the Broncos, 318 yards in that time, 2 touchdowns, and 5 fumbles in 10 games in 2022. The Baltimore Ravens to win the AFC North, plus 220. Does this move the needle for the Ravens, Shawn McCormick?
No. No, if Melvin Gordon can stay healthy, that'd be great for him.
Hey, running back getting paid, right?
We might discuss this in further length at the old homestand show later today. Yes, I don't want to spend too much time on it now because we don't have enough time. But, I mean, Lamar Jackson said he wanted to throw for 6,000 yards this year. And that, I mean, they're just bringing in running backs that really hurts J.K. Dobbins' value if you're looking at J.K. Dobbins props or J.K. Dobbins in fantasy football. Not a big fan of it at 30 years old. There's only so much success that running backs have at that age. And he's just sort of going to be there for a veteran backup.
Is he a pass-catching back?
Yeah, he can definitely catch some passes. Yeah.
He's going to get his yards. Don't worry about that. Okay, let's do the parlay.
Go, baby.
Let's go with your first leg. What do you got?
We talked about this game earlier, and, it's a bit of a homer pick in a way, but going to go with the Jays tonight. They've got a better record than the Mariners. I think they've got a better lineup than the Mariners. Yusei Kikuchi has been struggling a bit, as I did discuss earlier. But Bryce Miller, who has had a good season for the Mariners, he throws his fastball about 67% of the time.
Right.
And the Jays are a fantastic fastball hitting team. From top of the lineup to the bottom of the lineup, Kevin Kiermaier has one of the best averages in baseball against fastball. So, yeah, I think that I like them at minus 105. So that's who I'm going with.
All right, plus 330 is the parlay. I'm taking the Orioles first to 5 against the Tampa Bay Rays. That's it for the show today. We'll be back tomorrow. Oh, not tomorrow. It's the weekend.
Monday.
We'll be back on Monday with more Parlay Show presented by Bet99.